If I were to ask you what the most famous year was in British history, I bet you'd all give me the same answer. But what do the ruins of this old castle behind me have to do with it? I'll tell you what and where I am in just a moment. Today, we're looking for a room with a view, but will it be a bedside vista for her? That's the dream, isn't it?
It is.
Or a kitchen sink drama for him.
When Rick's doing the washing up, he can look out and, yeah.
I'm sure there's a dishwasher.
Today, I'm in East Sussex, and these walls are the ruins of Hastings Castle, whose origins date back to, yep, you've guessed it, 1066. Now, just a few days before the legendary battle took place, William of Normandy gave orders for a castle to be built on this exact site, just a few miles from the battlefield itself. There, of course, King Harold and his army were defeated, and William of Normandy became better known as William the Conqueror. That, as they say, is history. 9.5 centuries of history, to be precise. And the town of Hastings is celebrating the 950th anniversary of the Battle of Hastings this very year. East Sussex is a county on the south coast of England, facing out to the English Channel. Chalk hills, known as the South Downs, cross the county from east to west, dramatically meeting the sea at Beachy Head. The South Downs Way is a 100-mile route running through the county and beyond, and can be enjoyed on foot, by bike or on horseback. The Shingle Beach at Pevensey was a landing place for the Romans, who built a 4th century fort nearby. It was besieged by the Saxons a century later, with the Normans taking over in the 11th century. But as well as making the county open to invasion and attack, the sea has provided a livelihood for fishermen. And at Hastings, the largest beach-launched fishing fleet in Europe continues to operate. Regional myths and legends abound. At Mayfield, the church owes its name to St Dunstan, a blacksmith said to have been visited by a beautiful temptress. The story goes that spotting cloven hooves beneath her dress, St Dunstan realised it was really the devil in disguise and fended off the satanic advances with red-hot pincers. So whether you enjoy a devilish tale, a bracing bike ride, or a local fish supper, East Sussex is a stunning county to plan an escape to. In terms of property, if you're looking for good value for money in a county with the word Sussex in it, then East Sussex is definitely for you. Because even though homes here cost around 30% more than they do in the rest of England and Wales, it's a lot cheaper than in neighbouring West Sussex. In fact, if you take two identical detached homes in both counties, the one in West Sussex will cost around £460,000. But the price for the same house here drops to around £390,000. And talking of houses, we've chosen 3 fantastic ones for today's buyers, so let's meet them. Our house-hunting couple are long-time Londoners, Rick, an IT worker, and Julia, a support teacher. This husband and wife have raised 2 children in their current house in Hammersmith, West London, but now they're ready for pastures new.
I'm born and bred in this area. It's the place that I grew up. It's changed a lot. The riverside has changed dramatically since I was a child. And it's now getting very built up, lots of very big, modern, expensive developments. And it just means it's more crowded.
And it's not just busier on the ground, the city skies are more crowded too.
Well, the main annoying thing about living here is the aeroplane noise, because we're on the flight path to Heathrow. It can be like every 2 or 3 minutes, really noisy, aeroplane coming in to land.
Living in the midst of urban bustle is nothing new for these two, but a few months ago, something happened that made them want to take stock sooner rather than later.
I was quite ill in September, suddenly and acutely and seriously ill. Then we just suddenly realised we've been talking about moving for years and years and years.
Rick being ill made us rethink the rest of our lives and the fact that we could stay in this house, but actually let's do something that's a bit more dramatic and adventurous, really.
So, with their son and daughter grown up, they've decided to head south to the sea.
East Sussex and Hastings
Leonard's area is where we're sort of hoping to be.
Yeah, there's some lovely parts and there's some kind of funky up-and-coming parts. So there's some cultural activity.
But as well as looking for countryside and culture, these keen triathletes are expecting plenty of new training grounds to challenge them.
I really enjoy, I suppose, endurance sports, which include cycling, running and swimming and, of course, triathlon.
We like to be active, and I think actually we are quite sort of hardy. We're happy to go to sort of the middle of nowhere where there isn't anything. We don't always expect there to be a shop open when we need it. I think we will be able to adapt because I think we're kind of quite adaptable people.
Yeah, we can still get our shopping delivered. We've checked that out.
Rick and Julia would like to live close to the coast around the area of Hastings and St Leonard's with good transport links back to London. Recent developments have made their house search more urgent than ever, so we're meeting in East Sussex to discuss the move. Well, Julia and Rick, lovely to meet you both. I understand you've already moved here, haven't you? You've sold your house in London.
That's right, we've been here a week. This is our 7th day in Sussex.
And still in love with it?
Absolutely, it's like being on a holiday.
So let's talk about your new home. What are you looking for?
We're looking for something light and airy. We'd like at least three bedrooms and a good living space and a good garden. Nice big kitchen for entertaining.
And you're outdoorsy people, aren't you?
Yeah.
You love your hobbies, your cycling.
Yeah, so we need space to store a number of bicycles, space to keep the camper van that we have off the road, space for drying wetsuits and things like that.
You said you like airy, but explain a little bit more, Rick.
Well, I mean, I'd love something that was really, really modern. Lots of glass, lots of light, but at the same time sort of well insulated and easy to keep warm.
One important thing for me is to be able to lie in bed and look out of the window and see some greenery and sky.
That's important.
Very important to me, yeah.
Remind us of your top budget here in East Sussex, please.
So our top budget is 700,000. That would be for absolutely everything, move in straight away, not have to do anything. But, you know, we're sort of happy to do some work on a place if we need to, so...
Good news. You're already in the county, but we're going to show you a little bit more of it. So, should we get started? Come on, follow me. Thank you. For a maximum budget of £700,000, Rick and Julia would like an individual property with a minimum of 3 bedrooms, including a master with countryside views from the bed. They want lots of living space, a kitchen with room to entertain and a good-sized garden, plus space to store bikes and parking for the camper van. We've got 3 very different homes to show them with their wish list in mind, and at each, I'll be getting them to guess the price before I reveal it. The final tour is our mystery house, which promises a few surprises, but first, it's time for house number 1. So this is really exciting, isn't it, for the two of you?
Yeah, it is now, actually. It was very stressful up until time we've actually moved, but we moved ourselves, and we've also helped our children to buy property in London.
I think it's gone from being terrifying to being exciting.
Yeah.
And what about the R word, retirement?
I mean, I'm still going to be working in London 2 days a week, see how it goes. Those people who live down here say, oh, you won't want to do that for long.
Let the adventure begin.
Yeah, we are, yes.
Our first house is in the village of Iden. Around a 13-mile drive from Hastings, the settlement is first mentioned in the Domesday Book and has a pub, a hall, recreation ground, and, thanks to the campaigning of the local community, retains its post office and stores. The artist Paul Nash was a resident in the 1920s, and his paintings, many inspired by the local landscape, now hang in the Tate Britain Gallery in London. As illustrator of T.E. Lawrence's 7 Pillars of Wisdom, Nash was visited frequently at his Iden home by the man who was to become Lawrence of Arabia. And following in those famous footsteps down a quiet country lane, it's that very house we've come to see. What do you make of our very first property we're showing you?
I think it's really pretty. It sort of looks like a typical Sussex kind of house, but not too cottagey.
I like the brickwork's attractive, and the weatherboarding's nice, so yeah.
Well, that's a jolly good start. Should we take a look around?
Yeah,
Come
great.
on then.
Built in the same decade that Nash lived here, the almost century-old cottage was extended either side by the current owners in recent years. A front door in one of these additions takes us into a lobby and hall and through into the original part of the home, which showcases the surroundings that so inspired Nash.
So let's start off. The first room has to be, I think, the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first thing that dominates is
the window and the view there. That's
Uh-huh,
lovely.
uh-huh.
Yeah. When he's washing up, actually, it's going to be fantastic for him.
It is a good washing up view, yeah.
And it's a good kitchen. It's not too huge.
now this
Yeah.
range.
Looks scary.
Well,
Yeah.
this is often the way in the country. It supplies everything.
Right.
So your hot water, your central heating, as well as your cooking.
Right,
But it's
right.
something to bear in mind. It's something different than
Yeah,
you
yeah,
might not
yeah.
be used
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Wonderful. Right. Well, let's keep going. So we've seen the kitchen. You can follow me.
Back across the lobby, there's a utility room and ground floor shower room, whilst from the kitchen, we reach an L shape of 3 reception rooms, starting in a spacious sitting room.
Views on 2 sides, which is nice.
So it's light
it is
again
light,
as well.
yeah.
Really lovely light.
Yeah. This is still the original part of the house,
It
I
is.
guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite often, that's one of the things I don't like about country cottages is the tiny windows, but it's a stunning view. I mean, this is much bigger than the sitting room we had in London, isn't it?
Yes,
much
yeah, yeah.
Not only does this home offer these city escapees this bright living space, there's a further reception room in the original part of the home that is currently used as a study. And in the more recent extension, there's a large garden room which also serves as a dining area. Upstairs, there's a family bathroom with a roll-top bath, next to which is the first of 4 bedrooms, big enough for a double bed and featuring windows on 2 sides. There's also a larger double, then a small box bedroom. And finally, the room which Rick and Julia could use for themselves makes bedroom number 4.
So the master bedroom.
This is nice. You can sit in bed and
That's the perfect view.
see
Yeah.
the view.
That's the dream, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I was just noticing there's no wardrobe or cupboard space
fitted
here.
storage.
Nothing. But actually, I quite like that. I
Do
quite
you?
like having a bedroom that's just sort of quite simple.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it is only our first property, but could you see yourselves living somewhere like this?
I'm starting to.
Yeah. Is it really possible?
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels comfortable,
got a
this
nice
house.
feel to it, yeah.
It's not too huge. We don't want anything that's, got too much maintenance, too much space.
Okay, well, let's head out into the garden and see what you make of those views.
So Julia has her bed with a view, and we have a very positive finish for the interior accommodation of this former artist's home. Sitting in a triangular half-acre plot, there's a gated gravel drive and carport for Rick and Julia's camper van, whilst to the side of the property, ready-made raised beds provide a head start on that homegrown veg. There are useful storage options for bicycles and wetsuits in 2 sheds. There's room for patio dining, but the lion's share of the garden is grassed with a level lawn.
So what do we think of the garden?
I almost think it's a bit too big. But actually, I'm just wondering whether looking after it is going to be a distraction from the other things that we want to do.
Sit-on mowers are a wonderful invention.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually slightly disagree with him.
And also, just look behind you.
Yeah, no, that is lovely.
Yeah.
So bearing all that in mind, we've got to now try and put a price on our first property.
650?
Okay.
I think a bit less. I think 625.
You're very good at this. Very good indeed, because Rick, you're actually on the money. The
Am I
asking
really?
price is £625,000.
Interesting.
So, way under your budget.
Yeah.
Now you know you've got £75,000 to play with. Have another look around and I'll come and find you when you're ready.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it is a splendid first house, way under their budget. And I think sometimes it's just getting your head around that it's very rare that you find a house that gives you everything that you want on paper. You do have to sometimes do some of the work yourself, and with so much left in their budget, they could afford to do it.
This 1920s former artist's home comes in significantly below budget and offers a country kitchen, 3 reception rooms, 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Plus it's set in a half-acre garden with lovely countryside views.
But I think really what we should think about doing is knocking this down. The kitchen goes in here, and then we've got a dining room through here.
Yeah, that would work. It's in a beautiful location, and the garden is beautiful, and the lightness and the brightness and the views through the window are fantastic. And it's a really good amount of space. It's the sort of exactly the kind of space we're looking for.
I do like the property, but I'm not sure if it's for us. We'd need to do too much to it, I think. It's the first house we've seen, and I'm not sure if it's the one that we really want.
How are we doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah, a good first property?
Yes.
Really good. Yeah, very interesting.
Good, all right. Well, we've still got more to show you,
Lovely.
so we'll go.
The fascinating coastline of East Sussex includes the historic harbour of Rye. Once a small fishing community almost entirely surrounded by water, the sea has retreated, creating an abundant variety of habitats. Since 1970, this coastal expanse has been cared for as a nature reserve. As Rick and Julie are keen to explore the outdoors by bike and foot, we've sent them to meet reserve manager Barry Yates, who's dedicated over 3 decades to looking after the landscape.
How did this reserve come to be?
Well, back in 1970, a partnership of organisations came together because they realised that the coast was coming under a lot of pressure and it was threatening the wildlife. But apart from the 4,500 species, there's a whole layer of history and changing coastlines. And most importantly, there's 200 species that are nationally rare or endangered. And that's what we're managing it for. And what we're going to do today is have a cycle tour of the whole reserve. And we're going to go and see lots of wildlife, and there's a few surprises.
Oh, lovely.
The reserve is mostly flat, making it relatively easy to get around by bike. The intrepid can venture here via the National Cycle Network, but bike hire is available in Rye itself. The reserve is noted as a site of special scientific interest, and first stop today is one of 5 birdwatching hides.
What birds can we see here?
The birds out on these islands are a mixture of gulls and terns. These closest to us are black-headed gulls, and they're sitting on their nests, and the first chicks are hatching now.
Can we see the terns from here? Are they?
Yes, the terns are on the left-hand island.
Oh, right, okay.
There's been a fantastic increase in the numbers of pairs of nesting birds out here. So this year there's 400 pairs of sandwich terns nesting, which is a big increase on previous years.
Ensuring there are good nesting sites for the 90 different bird species that use the area is not left down to Mother Nature. Fences deter predators from badgers to foxes, while shingle islands, many man-made with managed vegetation, give the nests added protection. These current nesters have spent the winter months much further south, the terns in West Africa and the black-headed gulls in Spain and Portugal.
Is there a pecking order amongst them to who gets the best spot?
Yes, the early nesting ones get the best spots, and the later arrivals have to make do on the edge.
But it's not all about wildlife. With over 1,000 acres of terrain, from gravelled paths to grassy pastures, the East Sussex shore tells a tale of invasions, both real and feared. Henry VIII built a series of coastal forts here. The remains of Camber Castle is one of them, now open to the public.
Wow, it's a fantastic castle. It feels like it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yep, it stands about 2 kilometres from the sea now, whereas when it was built in Henry VIII's time, that's 500 years ago, it was overlooking the sea. It was right on the coast.
So it's a really interesting shape. Is that normal for this kind of castle?
It is. They had a fairly common plan. They had these big semicircular bastions, really thick walls with cannons within, and very difficult to attack. You could not creep up on this castle without being seen.
So what happened to the sea? What happened to make it move so far away?
Shortly after the castle was built, the sea pushed up great ridges of shingle. And so now all this vast area that was once the sea is now being farmed, and some of it is the nature reserve.
Well, they say an Englishman's home is his castle. So let's see if we can find suitable fortifications for Rick and Julia here in the county. Our next house is located close to the village of Burwash. Once an important location for iron making, the furnaces and forges have made way for antique shops and tea rooms. But the village is best known for one famous former literary resident.
Now, you know East Sussex quite well. Have you ever visited this part of it?
Yes, we have. We have actually been to Bateman's before.
Now, that's Rudyard Kipling's house,
That's
isn't
right,
it?
yes.
Turn of the century, he could have been your neighbour. Do you know why? Because the property I'm going to show you is literally just around the corner from
really?
that.
Okay.
Yes. Not quite as grand. Let's have a look.
Kipling lived in the Jacobean manor house in the first part of the 20th century. The estate is now in the hands of the National Trust, and passing this down a private lane, we find the house we've come to see.
Quite an unusual entrance, driving past that Jacobean home, the Bateman's estate. But this is actually not attached to it. This is a private road, and here is our second offering.
Quite impressive.
It's obviously quite
Quite
new.
new. Looks huge from the
It
outside.
seems like there's a lot of it, yeah.
It is a
Yeah.
substantial property. Originally in the 1960s, there was a bungalow on this spot, so around 2010, the current owners built this to their needs.
It's a nice setting, yeah.
Right, well, let's see how we get on inside.
Okay.
This modern-built property sits in an area of outstanding natural beauty. A porched front door opens to a corridor running along the front of the home, which takes us to the generously proportioned kitchen diner.
And how is this for space?
Yeah, it's a really good, spacious kitchen.
Beautifully finished. You've got a wonderful utility room through that door. Again, ample space. But then behind us, you've got a dining room.
What's really nice is direct access to the outdoors
Yeah,
as well.
really.
I think that's what we're after.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably what we would have tried to make the other house into, I suppose. Yeah. And again, the sink looking out onto the view, so when Rick's doing the washing up, he can look out and, yeah.
I'm sure there's a dishwasher.
Let's show you a little bit more, and hopefully we'll keep in the same vein. Just down here.
Next to the utility is a ground floor shower room. Then opposite the kitchen is the first of the home's 3 bedrooms. And completing this ground floor is a very large reception space.
A long hallway which leads us to our sitting room.
It's a great size. It's a good entertaining space because also it's got the doors
Lots of
that
light
lead
and
out.
fresh air,
so,
yeah.
Look at the size of
I
it.
know, it's
mean,
a really good space.
What you could do if you wanted to is divide it up. So have 2 sitting rooms because it's big enough.
Yeah, easy to sort of change it into...
Yeah, it's straightforward. It's
yeah.
not, there's nothing to...
Yeah.
The design is sort of neutral, so you can do what you like with it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering in the main master bedroom whether we're going to have the views out of the window.
It'd be hard not to get a good view in this house, I think, wouldn't
You're
it?
selling the house to me. I'm liking that. Let's have a look.
The eaves of the house are used as features in 2 further bedrooms upstairs. The first of these are a double with dormer windows, served by its own bathroom. And at the other end of this floor is an extravagantly proportioned suite.
Could this be the master
This is
bedroom by
really
any
nice.
chance?
This is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Light and bright. Yeah.
Just airy and spacious. And
Yeah.
the eaves make it interesting as well. So it's
Yes, gives it some
interesting
character.
shapes.
The reason you haven't got cupboards is you've actually got your own dressing room here.
Wow, okay.
And then not to be able to, and we've obviously got to give you an ensuite as
Ensuite.
well.
Oh,
haven't
right.
we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really nice room.
Yeah.
This is great.
So lying there with your head on the pillow,
Yeah.
let's take a look
Yeah.
and see what you make then of this
Yeah.
view. Have a peek.
Wow. Yeah.
Would you ever get tired of that view?
No, you wouldn't because it would change with the seasons.
Yeah, this is really nice.
Yes, this kind of bedroom with good storage and ensuite is perfect. But we don't spend all our time in the bedroom.
No? Well, let's take one final look at the bedroom And then let's head outside.
Lovely. Thank you.
This house really is offering Rick and Julia everything they asked for, even down to that bedroom view. But they still need convincing it's the right house for them. Perhaps the garden will do the job. As well as its own driveway and integral garage, there's a pretty summer house and the grounds are a manageable size too. Knowing Rick is worried about taking on too much garden, I'm hoping he'll be happy with this one.
I think the garden's great.
But this is ideal for
No,
you,
this is
isn't it?
perfect size
Yeah.
because you've got all this for free, and we could have a small vegetable plot somewhere around, and it's kind of low maintenance.
You happy?
You're done. Yeah, happy with the garden.
And what about the surrounding area? You know, possible walks,
stunning.
bridle
Oh, it's
paths.
stunning. Yeah, it's really
absolutely
good.
stunning.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Cycling.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Yeah,
great
and there's
is
a
it?
bridle path that goes right past. So.
You know, it's so stunning. I'm not sure we're quite ready for something quite so rural. We do need to start to change our mindset. I think we're still in London mode, really.
Well, let's see how we get on with the price. I am going to tell you, it's only just gone on the market.
Right. I think it's 700,000.
Well, I think it's a little bit under. I think it's 695.
OK, well, they are looking for offers between 700 and 750,000 pounds.
OK. It's probably more than I would want to pay, really.
I must admit, I'm quite surprised because I thought the comments were very positive going round.
Okay.
But I'm still going to send you back in. Have another look.
OK.
And it does give you an idea of what you can get for your money in
Yeah,
these sort of
great setting.
surroundings.
Yeah.
And then I tell you what, I'll meet you out the front. Please be my guests. Thank you.
Sitting at the top of their budget, this modern chalet bungalow offers everything Rick and Julia have asked for. There's a large kitchen diner, generous reception room and 3 bedrooms, including a large master suite. It comes with a low-maintenance garden surrounded by countryside and is located close to village shops and services.
Having that view from the bedroom is really, really important. I think in terms of the garden, this actually is probably fine. The house has been well designed for the people who live here, but perhaps it isn't designed for us.
It just doesn't feel like somewhere where I'd really feel at home. It's a modern house, but it's not a modern design.
All right. Yeah.
Lovely.
Good second viewing on your own. I'm still a
thank
little
you.
confused. But that's it for today. So let's hit the road because I've got more to show you tomorrow.
Thank you.
We're in East Sussex looking for a home for Rick and Julia, who have recently relocated from West London. We've already seen 2 contrasting houses for their £700,000 budget, but the mystery house may offer another dimension.
It's definitely got character.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing them on it.
Plus, I'm on the right track for a great view of the East Sussex coast.
You can see the fishing fleet, you can see the pier, you can see the whole of Old Hastings.
I certainly wouldn't want to climb it, that's for sure. I don't know about you, but I'm a little perplexed with Rick and Julia. Yesterday we showed them 2 very different homes, and they like certain elements of the first and some parts of the second. So ideally, with our mystery house, if we combine the very old with the very new, chances are we could be onto a winner.
Our mystery offering is located in the village of Who. The village owes its name to the Saxons who invaded the Sussex coast in the 5th century and called it Who, meaning ridge. These invaders were heathens who worshipped natural objects and phenomena. And there's certainly plenty of nature to appreciate in the surroundings of this Wilden village. You can pick up some Sussex produce in the farm shop, or pop in for a drink at the pub, which is located a pleasant 15-minute walk along the lane from the house we've come to see.
May I introduce you to your mystery house?
Wow.
Looks really
It's
interesting.
really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. Old cottage, but it's got a bit of
yeah.
contemporary as well.
It looks
so it looks
lovely.
really interesting.
And that's really why we picked it.
Yeah.
Is it a listed building?
It's not. in actual fact.
Okay.
It's about 17th century. It used to be an old bakery.
Okay.
And then obviously, as you can see
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
extension there, and
Yeah.
also there's another one just behind
Yeah.
us, that was done recently. So
Yeah.
first impressions?
Very positive.
Really
Yeah,
interesting, yeah.
Okay.
I can't
Let's-
wait to see inside.
Good, well, let's do exactly that.
The side extension of this 17th century former bakery has been clad in cedar wood, whilst a roof of terracotta tiles unites new and old. The front door leads directly to the main reception room, where period features show the history of the home.
Right, I think shoes off with the cottage and come on in. You can see the bread oven.
Yeah,
And then often
yeah.
when you go into properties, the bread ovens are about this big. You can see this used to be a bakery because it's
absolutely,
huge.
Yeah.
It's stunning, but it's, I mean, it's quite light, despite the fact that it's an old bakery.
Feeling a bit nervous about all this old stuff.
Are you?
Yeah. It's definitely got character.
Yeah.
Definitely got
And
character.
I'm really looking forward to seeing them on bed.
If you just follow me down this step, it's something completely different. Here is your contemporary.
Yeah, this is good. This is it. This is what we're looking for, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want the whole house to be like this.
The thing is, when you're looking for contemporary homes, they're
Yes.
quite difficult to find
I-
in
yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least we're giving you a little bit of a
Yeah.
mix.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can find enough contemporary styling to keep Rick happy as we head back through the original part of the home and into the kitchen.
What I am going to offer you is a cottage kitchen.
Small kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bijou.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, what you could do is actually extend this out, say another 5 foot, which would make a tremendous amount of difference.
Yeah.
I'm curious where you eat as well.
But I suppose if you extended it, then you can make it into something
Yeah.
that you could eat in
Yeah.
as well.
Aesthetic design
Yeah.
is just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's still light, so you know I might get to love the beans in the end.
Adding a generous helping of up-to-date design to the 17th century beginnings of this former bakery may be convincing these long-time city dwellers of the merits of beams and bread ovens. To the rear of the recent extension is the first of 3 bedrooms, currently with a daybed. Next to this is a thoroughly modern ground floor shower room, which also serves the 2 bedrooms on the upper floor. Above the reception room in the oldest part of the house is bedroom number 2, currently furnished with bunk beds. Then we find the largest of the 3 bedrooms.
I can't take my eyes away from that view, but I'm going to have to because I want to concentrate on the master bedroom. As you can see, the original house would have finished here. So you've got this part, which they've just let breathe in a way, haven't they, with a feature wall behind you.
It's such clever design, I think. It's really a good use of space. It's quite stunning.
And it's another interesting contrast between the old and the new.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice open
Yeah,
space for a bedroom. So yeah, I like it.
But actually, because although this is the master bedroom, I actually really like the bedroom downstairs and could imagine that as being the master bedroom. And it's next door to the bathroom.
Do you fancy the idea of living on the ground floor?
It does avoid navigating those stairs late at night as well.
Yeah.
Well, there is actually even more to show you, accommodation-wise, as well as the garden outside.
Rick and Julia are really thinking about how they might live here. And outside, there's a well-stocked rear garden opening to fields, plus a small wooded area with ancient oak. But I can't wait to show them the outbuildings, starting with a smart and stylish cedar and glass studio.
Is it too good for bikes?
Just worried about how visible they'd be. I mean, maybe some blinds or something just to hide what's in there.
I would use it as a writing place, morning coffee place.
Well, further down, there is another artist studio on the left, and you've got a garage as well. Quite a lot of space at the back. Permission was actually given for an annex to be built on that
Oh,
footplate
that
there.
sounds interesting.
That's a good sign. That is a good sign. But let's see, just as importantly, if we can afford it with all these plans and everything that we're discussing quite happily. Any idea what you think this is on the market for?
I'm going to say 650.
OK.
Well, I think it's more. I think it's over our budget. So I was going to say 750.
Ooh.
OK.
It's on the market for £700,000. However, we've spoken to the owner and he's happy to have discussions on offers over £650,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
That's. Yeah. Got me thinking.
We like the
Yeah.
don't we?
I like being right as well.
Off you
you so
go.
much.
Thank you.
This 17th century former bakehouse with contemporary additions is a real meeting of old and new, offering one reception room with period beams and another with bifold doors. There are 3 bedrooms, a low-maintenance garden and outbuildings including a glass and cedarwood studio.
Yeah, this is a lovely room.
We could use this as our bedroom.
I know, I
It's
think
it's
that.
really nice, and it
Yeah.
has the bathroom right next
to it,
door, and just it's just so nicely finished and such a nice design. I think it's amazing how well it's designed and how it does feel like a single dwelling, but it's got such huge contrasts. I'm surprised that I feel so positive about it. It could work for us with some work.
Yeah.
I can picture you two right here,
Okay.
relaxing. It is the most beautiful spot, isn't it?
It's really beautiful.
I wonder, has the Mystery House performed its magic? You're not going to tell me, are you? Let's go somewhere quiet, sit down, have a chat, and you can tell me what your next move, hopefully here, is going to be.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Nestled under steep sandstone cliffs during the 18th century, the old town of Hastings became a place for the wealthy to take a therapeutic dip. And after the arrival of the railways, it grew to become a popular Victorian seaside resort. But with many prime attractions located atop steep cliffs above the beach, 2 cliff railways known as funiculars were built. The first, to the west, accessing the ruins of the castle, opened in 1891. Built by a private company, work overran and it was not a financial success. So when it came to building a second, the council took matters into their own hands. And it's this East Cliff line I'm visiting today.
This is the steepest working funicular railway in the whole of the UK. Now, if you think that's 90 degrees, we literally are going up like this at a 78% gradient. I mean, it is so steep and a real feat of Victorian and Edwardian engineering. Can you imagine what a thrill it must have been for the tourists of the day standing here as we climb so rapidly, looking out on this spectacular view, which I have to say is so impressive.
There is no driver's car on this line. Instead, operations are managed from a cliff-top control room, where I'm meeting the man with his fingers on the button, Kevin Borman.
Hello, Nikki.
Hi there. That is the most tremendous view.
Stunning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Best job in the council working up here, I reckon.
So this is where it all happens?
This is it. This is the control room.
So this one's ready to go, it looks
is.
like,
Push
eh?
the run button. Here it goes.
So what is a funicular railway?
A funicular railway is one simply worked by a cable and pulleys, and so the one lift goes up and down and the other one follows it round. As one goes up, the other goes down.
And when was this one actually built?
1902, so it's well over 100 years old.
Obviously for tourism,
Absolutely for tourism. Hastings was a big tourism resort even in those days,
as it is now.
as it is now.
This upper station is sometimes mistaken by visitors as Hastings Castle, but it was built to house 1,200 gallons of water. Along with a similar-sized water reserve in the lower station, this was the original means of powering the cars up and down the steep incline. Using a water balance system, a tank below each car was filled up at the top of the hill, causing it to descend and via a pulley lifting the lighter cars upwards. The tanks would then be emptied at the bottom of the hill and the cycle would start over again.
Actually, back in the 60s and 70s, you could hear the water, and as a kid, it fascinated me. As the tanks emptied at the bottom, this great swishing, swirling, gurgling noise as the water emptied out the tanks, ready for the lift to go up empty.
The line now runs on electricity, but retains the feel of the original, as well as the views.
You can see the fishing fleet, you can see the pier, you can see the whole of Old Hastings. And the rumour is, and I'm told it's true, that the plans were misread, and that's why it's so steep. It shouldn't have been as steep as this. It's unusually steep for a funicular railway.
It is very steep indeed.
But it's 1 in 1.3, which makes it very steep indeed. Most
Yeah.
funiculars, nothing like as steep as
I
this.
certainly wouldn't want to climb it, that's for sure.
But as well as being the best place to take in the scenery, the steep cliffs of Hastings have often been of strategic importance. During the Second World War, guns were stationed here, and this funicular was taken over by the military to ferry munitions. But for those wanting a ride to Hastings' most historic military site, the castle, the West Hill lift is the one to take.
Now that's unusual. It's not as steep as this one, but it goes through a tunnel.
So why has Hastings got two?
Well, because we're a great town. Why shouldn't we have two? But in the 1970s, when it was converted, we had horrible old fiberglass carriages. These were only 6 years old. They look very old-fashioned. They're based on the original Victorian design.
Well, it adds to the whole experience.
Absolutely,
I feel
yeah.
like I have stepped back in time.
Yeah.
As well as providing a taste of tradition, from the top it's possible to enjoy 600 acres of ancient woodland, heathland and grassland in the Hastings Country Park, as well as further incredible vantage points.
What a terrific view. And let's be honest, 3.5 million visitors to Hastings every year. They can't be wrong, can they? But after that extraordinary journey up, what comes up has to go down.
And as the Cliff Railway descends, I wonder if today's buyers have been left on a high after our East Sussex house search.
Well, I think we can discount house 1 and 2 for Julia and Rick, but our mystery house, such positive comments from both of them, enough to make them want to buy it? To find out, let's ask them. Well, Julia and Rick, we've got a feast for you here, haven't we?
It's lovely, Sussex tea.
Yeah, certainly going to whet up your appetite. Do we have a house for you, though? That is the question.
I'm not sure.
It's possible.
Oh, OK. Go on.
You know what, I think the last one you showed us, the Mystery House, the modern part of it, it was just so stunning, and it's just given me a taste. I just realised how much I like that style of house.
And the old bit didn't scare you as much as I thought it might.
It didn't scare me as much, but that old bit means there's less modern bit. So I think you really spoilt me for the old style by showing me that just beautifully finished, designed modern extension on the Mystery House.
So, second viewing or not?
I think possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, it would be
happy to
worth
go
having
back
a
there.
second viewing.
Yeah.
Well, all the best.
Thank you very much.
Have another look at that house. You never know. You might convince him about beams. But I hope it's out there, what you're looking for. And perhaps, if it isn't, you might have to get it designed and build it yourselves.
Absolutely.
Invite us back if you do. We want to see what it's like. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Well, even though we didn't achieve an actual house sale here in East Sussex with Rick and Julia, what we can confirm is a county sale. And I must admit, I'm particularly pleased that the Mystery House, even though I don't think they're going to buy it, helped them redefine what it is they want from their new home. A contemporary designed building with a highly polished finish. Will they find it here in the county? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. So that's it from me, and I'll see you again soon on Escape to the Country.
If you would like to escape to the country in Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales or England and need our help, you can apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.